going on, guys? Welcome to episode 35 of the Hip Hop Orchestra Presents. And I'm joined by my man from Toronto, Adriel Smiley, who's actually the founder of In The Cut podcast. How you doing, man? You all right?
I'm doing good. Honestly, a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on. How's things been, man? All right?
For sure.
Yeah, you've been busy.
Yeah, I'm probably doing more interviews at home than I did when Corona wasn't happening, because I had a rule that I didn't do phone interviews.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm busy as ever now. threw that rule out the window, and I'm busy as ever.
How many do you do, say, like now, like say per week, compared to how much you did sort of before that?
Usually before, I was trying to do one a week. I was in school. I just graduated, by the way. So yeah, I was in school.
Oh, congrats.
I just graduated, and now I probably do at least 3 a week. But
that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Because do you release 3 a week as well, or do you like one episode a week that you release?
It's usually 3 a week. I have like a bunch of different shows going on that are for like different I guess publications, people, stuff like that. So that there is 3 a week, but not 3 for In The Cut. In The Cut is still, we do 1 a week. But treating the other stuff that I'm doing, it ends up being usually 3 a week.
Yeah. What other shows do you do then as well?
So I do another podcast called Album Mode, and it's me and this music critic, DeMar Grant. He's like, yeah, I hear him talk about music. He all his reviews were the first reviews I read that had words I'd never seen before.
Really?
So me and him do this podcast, and we review a different album every week. And then I do a career panel. It's been going on for, I think, 6 or 7 weeks now. Got people who are in the music industry and sports industry talk about how they made it, how they did it. So we had a lot of cool people on that. And then I do like IG Live interview series where someone comes on IG Live. We talk about what it's like to put music out during a pandemic. How's your kind of stuff changed in the past couple months or so, and then they perform a couple of songs.
Brilliant. How do you find that doing 3 podcasts at the same time?
It's a lot. It's a lot for sure. It's a lot for sure.
Do you ever get sort of overwhelmed with the amount of work that goes into each one?
It depends. I do have like a team and a producer that helps me with the career panel and with the IG Live series. So it isn't just me doing all of that. I still also have to edit and things like that. But having a bit of a team helping me on that side helps. And then same goes for the Album Mode podcast. Like In The Cut is probably the podcast I do the most heavy lifting on my own.
Yeah.
But for those other 3, I kind of have some people helping me out, so it doesn't get too bad.
Amazing. Did you start all 3 at the same sort of time, or did you start one, then like got quite addicted to that, then go to the next one, to the next one?
In The Cut was the first one. It actually started like I had a radio show. So I started a radio show, I think 2017, called The Cool Table, and that was like a weekly radio show. We play new music, and we wanted to have interviews for that show. So that's how In The Cut started. And then Album Mode, Album Mode started recently. We're like maybe a month into Album Mode.
Okay.
The IG Live series, something that started with the pandemic. Again, I wasn't really into the over the phone interviews. I'm really like an in-person interview type of person. So that was what I was focusing on. But then,
yeah. Damn, that's a lot of work though. But I keep saying to people that how addictive is podcasting now.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Now let's talk about sort of in the cut first then. So what was the sort of mindset before we started that? What was the kind of idea that you had for that one?
So I had I'd done interview type shows before. I used to do like TV stuff before, but I did like radio and podcasting. And I just knew like a good number of artists and people. I was like kind of like a lot of people's music guy, like looking for new music, they'll come to me, or if they mix songs, they'll let me hear it. So I kind of had that, I guess, niche in that way. But yeah, I wanted to be able to show people would want to come on, and I think that's like kind of what we created. People are like, oh, for sure, what?
Yeah.
Instead of people do, there's press that artists don't want to do. So I wanted artists to be a show that artists would want to do. Like, it's fine, it's chill. Like, we're not trying to interrogate you.
Yeah.
And then that's how the ice cream came about, because my brother, who does a lot of graphics for the show, we were saying, how can we get these people to be like relaxed? Because some artists, you get them for 5 minutes, they come in, and then you're starting the interview, and then they got to go. So
yeah,
some, you may not have a rapport with all of them that you don't know directly. So it's like, how do you make them comfortable? And we thought the ice cream was
Yeah.
Perfect. And it's worked. Even though some people that don't even have that many, have that much, or don't touch it, it's just
Yeah.
like it breaks them down right away.
See, I love that idea of the arcing. So I sorry that I can't do it on my on one in the future, man. But I got
No
bad
worries,
stomach and
no worries.
stuff, man. But I love the idea of the arcing thing, though.
Mhm.
And does it? Because obviously I listened to your work before.
Mhm.
Brilliant. Has anyone actually finished like a whole tub of ice cream yet?
Yeah, so we've had two people finish, and so what I realized is it's kind of you have to have two people, and even like if you're a band or a group,
Yeah.
that's the way to get it done. Because the first guy to finish, it was a huge tub, but
Yeah.
he was the bass player and it was the lead singer who was talking. So that's how they got it done. And my brother has a shoe company, consignment company, where he does custom kicks. So everyone who finishes the tub of ice cream gets a custom shoe from him. So
Really?
they actually just got sent out the first shoe. I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe last week. But yeah, so we have like a collab that way. So one person's finished. The second person, I think we just reached the episode, so they're gonna get their shoe soon. Only two people have ever finished.
Wow. Like, what's the shoe company actually? Or your brother's one?
Cold Collect. Cold Collect.
Cold Collective. Wow.
Yeah.
That's well. What's he specialize? What kind of shoe does he specialize in?
Air Forces. So all
Oh,
like yeah, and Air
yeah.
Forces is like it's like a theme we have. Like on show day, we say we wear Air Forces.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a little thing, a little ritual we got going on.
Damn, I'm gonna check those out for sure. 'Cause I want some custom Air Forces myself. I still love my Air Forces, but they never go out of style, do they?
Never.
Never. But I've got like with the ice cream thing as well. That has that kind of, in a way, kind of ruined their experience in a way. Kind of like feeling really sick and stuff halfway through halfway through the talk.
Man, it is like, yeah,
Yeah,
it can for sure,
that's
for
bad.
sure.
How many episodes have you done now? Because last time I checked, there's about 30 odd episodes,
Mm.
wasn't there, that you done?
Yeah. I think we're at 33 now. So
Wow.
yeah.
That's crazy. And
Mm.
obviously, you said like the theme was actually you knew a lot of artists yourself.
Mm-hmm.
How about yourself? What's your background? Are you an artist yourself as well, or did you just go straight into like the TV and radio field, like you said?
I did music growing up, but I wouldn't call myself an artist. Like when I play the drums, I did play keys for a little bit.
Yeah.
I always was in band, that kind of thing. But I wouldn't call myself an artist. I really was always that like, someone will show their music to me type of person. I was always that person.
Yeah. And going to sort of album mode as well, which your second
Mm.
podcast. How long has that one been going on for? Was it a month? Did you say that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're episode 5 is coming out this week. So yeah, we're
Nice.
just on that one.
What kind of albums do you kind of review on that? Is it like literally all kinds of albums, or do you go to like say hip hop or R&B or jazz, whatever it might be? What is it?
Yeah, we try and do something different every week. We did
Yeah.
Taylor Swift the other week before. We did Dominic Fike. We did
Nice.
Mine last week. So we try and kind of have our album that is important to that artist in terms of the trajectory or it's their first release, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, and we had Unknown T actually was our first episode.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool. Yeah, we love that. We love that
No, I
album.
can imagine. How'd that go though with Unknown T?
No, it was good. It was good. It was good.
Yeah. Now, who's been like the kind of dream guest of yours on these two podcasts for now that you've put together?
Dream guest. Honestly, my dream guest, I kind of had him already. I had to have a new dream guest, I'll say. And it'd probably be Brent Fayez or Dave East, but Cabby, he's like a sportscaster in Toronto. He's a legend in Toronto, but I've had him on my show before, so that was like I did have my dream guest initially. But yeah, right now probably be Brent Fayez or Dave East.
Nice. Like, what's like talk about Toronto? Obviously, you're based there. What's the kind of music scene like there at the moment?
Honestly, it's really Toronto heavy. That Toronto like trap sound, people really are rocking with. But I think Toronto is like, sorry, it's weird to say, but it's really such a mix of a city. Like for like the Caribbean sound always is really popping, and we rock with grime and UK rap heavy. So it's like a lot of everything.
You know what? I want to ask you about that actually, because I'm glad you said about the UK sound and the grime. Actually, I wasn't sure if it actually reached over there. Actually, obviously it's been huge for a while now over here in the UK, but I wasn't sure if it reached over there to Toronto. Like, how do the Canadians sort of take that sort of sound? Do they really like it?
Oh man, it's it's huge here. It's huge. Like a lot of people are still like, I don't like the voice. I don't get. There are still people that don't get it 100% for sure, but. I've been to some UK shows here. Like I saw Skepta when he came. I think
did you?
And I saw Dave when he came. I think 2017 or 2018, like a little while ago. And all sold out crowds. And it's like it's a set where the DJ's playing grime before Skepta comes on and everyone's still knowing all the words. So there's definitely a crowd
Wow.
for that here. Yeah.
That's crazy because I spoke to a good friend of mine, who's a DJ, who's called Smasherelli. I'm not sure if you know the artist, he's called Rex 32.
Yeah. I listened to that episode.
Amazing, thank you, bro. Yeah, and obviously he said like kind of compare sort of the UK and US sort of audiences, and he obviously, as you know, he mentioned about how different tracks are portrayed in different places. What kind of tracks really work in Toronto at the moment that really get the crowd going?
I really still think I'd say, but really there's still a lot of Drake tracks, like,
Yeah,
you know, can kind of turn it up in a way that others can't. I think like the dance hall is really something that people, I guess, don't think about Toronto, but you know, you can go to any party and play, you know, a million hip hop tracks. If you play the right dance hall track, it's a different story. So
yeah,
I still think dance hall has a place in Toronto, like that gets the crowd going like no other. But yeah, that's
of
really
course.
what
Well, what's your take on Drake? Are you still a big fan of his, or not so much?
yeah, I still rock with Drake for sure. I think me personally, I listened to Drake when I was, you know, in grade 6 before, like, you know, 2 mixtapes before So Far Gone. So I'm kind of just proud of him that he made it this far. I remember when he was Wheelchair Jimmy, and I was like, this dude raps now. And then when he started singing, I was like, this dude sings now.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, all right, he can do anything at this point.
Yeah, like what do you think about people that kind of say, I prefer the sort of mixtape Drake to the kind of bigger Drake? What's your kind of take on that?
I kind of agree with them. I like there was a time when Drake had no songs where he sang. It was only rap songs. Like, you know, you didn't know that he sang. And, you know, for all my cousins, my people who were, you know, in Toronto at that time, listening to Drake at that time, it was a very different thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, I feel like if he had that, you know, vibe now, it would be crazy. So I do kind of agree with that.
Yeah, can I see what you mean? Because going back, I think he released one of his old mixtapes quite recently, not quite recently, about a few months back.
Yeah.
One of the tracks I remember was, I think, 5 a.m. in Toronto, which is one of my favorite tracks.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
What a banger. And,
oh my God, I love that one. That's my favorite track. That's my number one Drake track. That's my number one Drake track.
Really? That one?
Yeah,
wow. How about top 3 then? Okay, I'd say top 3 sort of Drake tracks.
4 p.m. in Calabasas. Probably got to be the other one. Oh man, there's so many. There's so many. I'd probably say, oh my God, nah, I can't.
I'll leave it. I'll leave it. But who are your sort of other favorite artists that have come out of Toronto? Obviously, there's been loads of have come out since then. Who've been some of your other favorites, or maybe
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, my fault. I always interrupt people. Sorry. I was going to say, like, obviously, Toronto's known for being out great artists. Who'd be some of your favorite artists that have come out of Toronto or coming out as we speak?
Definitely got to say The Weeknd. I know that's like a cliche thing to say, but The Weeknd like went to my high school. Like, he was, you know, we're close to the same age. He was around. Like, I grew up in Scarborough, where he grew up in. We kind of knew who he was because he used to go to parties and sing. We're like, what's the dude that sings at parties? So him to be the dude that sings at parties to who he is now is crazy. Yeah,
that's crazy, isn't it? When you see like you said, like people sing at house parties, are going from like that sort of scene to these massive global. See, it's crazy, isn't it? How you like that sort of meteoric rise is
exactly.
It's mad. Like same thing with The Weeknd. Actually, do you kind of prefer old school Weeknd to what he is now, or do you kind of like that sort of transition from old school to new?
I think I probably like him better now. There's some songs that he made at that old time that he probably won't even make those now. You know, we've lost that part of his career, but I do think he's still making a high quality of music. I don't think he's declined in any way. You know, he still sounds amazing. Seeing him live, he sounds exactly like the record. So he's so phenomenal.
See, that's what I love in an artist, where they sound just like they do on the record as well. Because that's what, to me, what makes a great artist. They can sound amazing on the record, but if they don't sound like that live, then
not the same.
It's not the same at all. But who else is like that? Like you've seen live that sounds like the record as well?
Alabama Shakes, Brittany Howard. She sounds exactly like the record. The Neighborhood, Jesse Rutherford. Wiz, I think, is an underrated performer. I've seen Wiz Khalifa a couple times.
Yeah,
Wiz is an underrated performer. ASAP Rocky actually can sing a little bit. When I saw him live, yeah, it was odd. And then Kanye is the real deal live.
Yeah, I've seen him, I think, once or twice live as well, and especially his older stuff as well, like the Graduation to that. That's all ever was phenomenal. I saw him at the Roundhouse in London, which is obviously a well-known venue, really big venue, and madness. I think he was supporting Mr. Hudson at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they did one or two tracks together, didn't they? If I remember.
Yeah. I remember those.
Yeah. So that sort of era, but it was mad to see him live. But also, one of my favorites what I saw live was I see loads of people now like yourself live, but I saw at the same venue Pharrell Williams.
Oh yeah. That was good.
Yeah. Bro, he was mental in that whole
show.
Oh
man, I would love to see that.
Yeah, because like I used to work at this Roundhouse. Obviously, like, it's a massive venue in the UK, in London, and got free tickets actually to the show, luckily. And I was like, bro, my God, yes, this is sick.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
But talk about sort of Pharrell and stuff. I love how him and Timbaland went to the same school, though, didn't they? So
yeah.
And comparing those two, like obviously they've got sort of different sounds. Who would you say was the? I know it's a random question, but who would say is a better producer out of those two, Pharrell or Timbaland?
To me, I choose Timbaland because I think Timbaland has a range. Like if you listen to even some of those Justin Timberlake albums and even some Untitled albums, like I think that Pharrell has range too. But I feel like I won't say Pharrell's but Pharrell I guess I still gotta go Timbaland. Timbaland's probably a personal favorite for me, so I gotta go Timbaland.
Yeah, same. He's to me, he's my all-time favorite producer, and like I said, that a range of producers, hits that he's made, and the artists he's worked with as well. Like that catalog of artists he's worked with is ridiculous. And I remember, was it making the band seasons where did he work with him as well? Like to work with Danny T. Kane at the point. Remember that?
Yo, that's a throwback.
Proper throwback. And I remember, I think she was called Right Now, Danny T. Kane. And there's one clip actually that I remember where Diddy goes, I'm bringing all like the biggest producers around the game. Like, I think I can't remember who else was involved, but he goes, next up Timbaland. And he goes, if I tell you who's worked with, we'll be here all night. And he's true though, but still to this day, man, he had to be my favorite producer of all time, top 3 at least. Him, probably Scott Storch as well is up there. Dark Child, I love to bits.
Oh yeah, Dark Child has some good stuff too.
Yeah, man, his stuff is ridiculous. I mean, I remember one time he came to the UK actually to London to do some work here. Real? And he put a tweet out. This is about like 4 or 5 years ago now, I think. So that sort of time, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. He was saying, if anyone wants to work with me, just give me a shout now. So literally all day, every day, like emailing me, shouting, like, I want to work with you now. But it's like, obviously they get the chance, man. But if I got the chance to work with someone like Dark Child or something like that.
That'd be crazy.
So, yeah, super crazy.
Man.
Yeah, but going back to the kind of your second podcast, the album mode, what other albums are you looking to review and go over in the future?
This week we're doing Cash Page's album, and I think what we're trying to do is again choose an album that's like someone's debut. It's a first album. We really wanted to do Drake's album. That's one we've been talking about a lot. Since he announced last year. But yeah, we're looking for those artists who it's like this is their big debut release or pivotal album in their career.
Amazing. How do you break each episode down, and do you talk like you talk about the debut albums? From there, how do you kind of break down each episode then?
We talk about it. Really, it's an album that you can go all the way without skipping. Like is it play all the way through type of album? Lyrics we talk a lot about it. Some of these podcasts, every time we finish, we're like, how did we not go 2 hours? Because the amount of things that we write down the lyrics for these is insane. But then we talk about kind of the vibe. Did they get the vibe they were trying to achieve? Like they tried to give you this atmosphere. Did they achieve that? And then the production. The production is huge on all these albums. So we go through all that, and then we give it a score. And DeMar has this thing where will he cop the vinyl? That's like the test if this is a good album. Will he cop the vinyl? And then that's how we decide how good album.
But I still love vinyls, man, to this day. I would never get it's that kind of crackling sound you get, isn't it? That warmth of the sound, isn't it? Of a vinyl. And I remember my dad brought out a couple of old cases of his old vinyls, like from old school style disco era to everything else. I was like, bro, I've got to sit for like hours just putting the needle on and listen to it. It's like this is what it's about. Because
they're addicting, man. They're addicting.
They are, man. Like really addicting. Because obviously, as you know, like when songs or albums are recorded onto the vinyl, the sound obviously gets better, isn't it? It's like directly put onto the vinyl. That's why we both know that the sound quality is better, isn't it, on a
Exactly.
vinyl.
No, it is. It is.
Yeah.
It's so smooth. The album that I got, I have a Black Keys Brothers. That album on vinyl. When I heard "Never Gonna Give You Up," I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is it. This is it.
Do you have a big like sort of vinyl collection at home as well yourself?
It used to be. It used to be. When I moved out, it was like I didn't have the space, but yeah. And I have a lot of modern stuff. I don't have as many throwbacks. I have a lot of singles. Like I have an Eddie Murphy single. I have a SWV single. I have a lot of singles, but yeah, it's not so much. And again, it's a lot of new stuff. I got some Kanye, some Travis.
Amazing.
A lot of new albums like that.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite albums that you've got in that you've like listened to and you've also got as well?
One of my favorites is Twisted Fantasy. I got like I gave the vinyl for that was Paramount.
Yeah.
That album is incredible. Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight. That's probably still my favorite Travis album. So had to get that one. Like I said, Black Keys Brothers. That was huge. And this one I haven't listened to in a long time, but Sam Smith's first album, In the Lonely Hour. That one was huge for me to get on vinyl. And D'Angelo Voodoo. D'Angelo's my favorite singer, so I had to get that.
Oh, nice. What's you said? Obviously, you mentioned Twisted Fantasy about being a paramount moment for you. What other albums have been kind of paramount and also difficult to get for you as well to copy a copy of?
That'd been hard to get. 808s and Heartbreaks is hard to get. That is expensive. Yeah, D'Angelo Brown Sugar is expensive and hard to get. Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. That's one that I would like.
One of my favorites of all time. Yeah.
But that is like, expensive.
Yeah.
For sure.
Why do you think some vinyls are harder to get than others? Is it just because of the price, or is it because of, like, they made like less copies of it, or is it rare? What do you think the kind of reasons are behind it?
I think some of them they do make less copies, but I know a lot of times it's the situation that these people have with their label. And a lot of these people, they're they might still be in horrible contracts, or that when they made the album was a horrible contract, and they don't really have the power to kind of press out more, set the price point. There's a vinyl store in Toronto I was at last week where I saw a album for $400. $400, and I said I don't remember which album it was, but I said this is anyone who's gonna pay for this might as well buy the whole store.
What vinyl was it?
I don't remember. I think I want to say it was a Beatles album, but I would remember if it was. So I'm
wow. Really, did you ask the owner why it was so expensive in the end?
I couldn't even fathom it.
Because I've seen sort of soundtracks from films going for about £100 or £200 in the UK, but $400 though for one vinyl. Damn, that's
craziness.
Yeah, that is craziness. That's mad. But going back to what you mentioned about sort of Sam Smith, actually, do a lot of UK artists make it big in Toronto? You also mentioned Skepta earlier and Rex 32. What other kind of UK artists have been taken good in? That's a really bad sentence. What other UK artists have made it sort of big in Toronto?
I want to say Sam Smith when he came here. His stuff was sold out. Ed obviously, huge. I'm trying to think who else. Stormzy, I don't think has done a show here, but a lot of people rock with Stormzy heavy here. And I'm not sure if Burna Boy is from the UK, but I know the UK has Burna Boy. But Burna Boy people love here as well. Dave, I wish he didn't come back to Toronto on his psychodrama tour, but the first time he came, like it was a super small venue, but it was mad. So Dave, I know people rock with heavy here too as well. Honestly, a lot of the big like UK artists, especially when it comes to rap, I mean, on the R&B pop side, I know people like LMA a lot as well. But when it comes to UK rappers, like my little brother's 15, and all he listens to is that drill. Like all he listens to is Digga D. Like that's like that's his thing.
What do you think? What do you think of drill?
Oh man, drill! I love the sound. I just think that it makes these guys rap in a different pocket. Like you have to rap differently because of the sound. So a lot of the guys who make that drill sound, I love.
Yeah. Do you obviously people in Canada kind of find the accent quite hard to understand when they're rapping a lot of the time?
Oh, 100%, 100%. I'm a huge Gigs fan, and I remember I was trying to put everyone onto Gigs when he dropped that Welcome to Them. When he dropped that,
Yeah.
I was really trying to like, push in it. And people were just like, why is he talking like that? And I'm like, this is hard. But I mean, a lot of people just can't get past it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Because when I first heard Gigs, I felt the same way, thinking, "Who is this guy talking such a lazy, kind of like a lazy tone, wasn't he?"
Yeah.
Like, I went down to the street, like, bro, who the fuck is this guy, man? Come on. But most people like you go, this guy's hard, he's sick. Like, I don't get it. But the last couple of years, I really got into it. Like, okay, now I know what we're talking about. Now, because there's certain artists where, for me anyway, it takes me longer to kind of get into their work. Yeah, like The Weeknd you mentioned earlier. Like for the longest time, I didn't like with The Weeknd. I don't know why. I just couldn't grasp his sound. I know obviously I knew what the sound was, but someone said it perfectly. Actually, he's kind of like late night driving music in a way.
Exactly.
Like smoke a bit of weed to get higher music, that kind of sound. But I couldn't really. Like I couldn't grab it really, but it's been the last sort of say few months when I finally come around now and like it. Same thing with Drake though. Like everyone loved Drake, the whole world loved Drake.
Yeah.
And I didn't like. I didn't really like him for the longest time. It's like, who the hell is Drake? I hate this guy. But now, the past say year now, 6 months to a year, I've really loved his stuff. I think, you know what, I missed out on a lot of stuff now.
Oh man.
Yeah. And I remember actually as well where we did about a year or two ago with my orchestra that I run. We did a show using his tracks. So like mixed with the hip hop, like the orchestra with the hip hop sound. And doing some of his biggest tracks. And every track we play, the audience were going mad. Thinking, okay, this is.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah. I can imagine.
But it was mental. Like every track you play, like, yes.
Perfect. Oh my god.
That's why I love doing the hip hop orchestra, man. He's so fun. We're taking tracks that everyone knows.
Yeah.
Kind of get like a kind of like an orchestral remix to it.
Exactly.
Like, kind of redoing it in a different way. Because it's amazing to think of it that way. And but it's so fun, man.
It brings you light, 100%.
Yeah. I love it. But going back to your In the Cut podcast, you're talking to a lot of artists that you said that you know and from the area. Have 30 plus episodes now as well, which is fantastic. What can I say? I've forgotten now. Like, do you talk to many people from Toronto? Or is it more of a global thing as well that you talk to?
It's a bit of a mix. The show we do it on a communication, so we're really trying to get a lot of Toronto artists. But I'm a type of person, if an artist is in town, then I'll say come stop by. So we definitely have had a good number of American artists as well, but we try and make it mostly Toronto artists.
Nice. And so about your third podcast actually as well, that you got the third one. Which remind me of the name of that one?
So, which podcast? Oh, the third show.
Album Mode, In the Cut, and then what's the third one?
The Dropping Gems.
Dropping Gems. Let's get to that one actually. How did that one start?
At the station, they wanted to do a career panel, something kind of get people some information on how they can make it in the industry. Yeah. And I started putting a list together of people, and I wanted to have definitely be a lot of women on the panel, a lot of people of color, and I want to be people who had a diverse background, whether it's journalism or media. So it's really a lot of people who they may have started doing this or now they're doing that. And I think that's kind of what a lot of people's careers are going to be in the next couple of decades. So I thought that was important. But it's been it's been a lot of people, some people that I know who I've worked with before, so it's been like conversations like that, and then some people that I'm meeting for the first time who are doing things in industries that I had never even heard of. So
what be some of the gems that have stayed in your mind since starting that podcast?
Man, I think one of the things that stayed in my mind is an episode with Keyshawn Mystery, who is a huge photographer in Toronto. He's shot a lot for the Raptors, the Blue Jays, and a lot of those iconic pictures like from the Raptors championship last year, he took them. And then Miles Maxine, who does this show, Half a Concert in Toronto, and they both said that they saw someone in their family doing what they were doing before. Miles does photography, and he said, my uncle was doing photography. My uncle was putting on shows. Keyshawn saying that my dad was a photographer. So, I guess them seeing someone, in their family close to them made it kind of an easier entry. And that kind of stood out for me because a lot of times, people just follow what they see and they think is possible just from what's in front of them. So
Yeah,
that was a huge one that stood out.
that's brilliant, man. Because that's sort of the reason why I do the podcast as well. Is talking to really inspirational people like yourself and other guests as well who bring these sort of really sometimes hidden gems that people don't always think about, and you're thinking, "Wow, I didn't think about it that way. That's mad." Wow. And when you kind of hear the backstory of how they started in their fields or how they got to where they got from an idea to now, that journey is what I find it really inspirational. And I've said this a few times before in the past as well, that in a way, like podcasting is therapy, isn't it? Where you'll just kind of talk about like the ups and downs, your journey to where you are now, and these gems that they say, thinking, wow, that's really amazing. So your idea of a podcast sort of focusing on that kind of thing is amazing. And how many episodes have you done of that one so far?
We've done 6, I believe, 7. We're going to be recording tomorrow. Yeah, it's a short series. I think we're going to release the audio together at a later time as a package. But the gems that we're getting are really incredible. The last episode I had was Cabby and Akil. They're both huge guys in the Toronto and Canada basketball scene in terms of media. And Akil interned for Cabby to get his start. So that was such a cool conversation because while we're talking, Akil's just saying he's the legend. I learned from him. He's the one who taught us everything. So kind of seeing how that generation goes paying it forward, that was just so cool.
Brilliant, man. Like, how do you kind of approach guests to feature on your shows? Is it quite an easy process, or do you have to go through someone else to get them on your shows?
Usually it's an easy process. A lot of I have, I guess, a little network of people that I can usually get right to the person. And for something like this, I think you have to, you want someone to do this because they want to do this. They want to drop those gems. They want to give that information. So usually, I direct those people, and I do have a little network of people where I can say, I'm doing this. Do you have anyone you think would be good for this, or does someone fit this criteria in your mind? And having that network really helps as well.
For sure. Because networking, I feel, as you already know, is such an important thing, isn't it? It's so crucial to get to where you want in life. And I realized as well that during lockdown period, that podcasting had obviously blown up, and talking to the right people is like I said earlier, it's therapy. And they, like you said, they want to share those gems with other people, and they want to take time out their sometimes busy schedules to help other people. And it's such an amazing thing. And for you doing 3 podcasts at the same time, that is mad. Like, I always wonder how people kind of cope with that sort of hectic schedule of doing things. Because obviously, as you know already, like the editing of the podcast is ridiculous. I mean, like, how do you cope with doing 3 at the same time? Like you got mentioned the team earlier, but how do you kind of?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's something I'm kind of used to in terms of workload. Just from being in school, like, not mentioning about Ryerson, but Ryerson School of Journalism was like a super competitive program, one of the top in the country and one of the top in North America. So it is it is kind of the workload that we're used to. My last semester of school, I was a sports editor for our paper, The Ryersonian, and through doing that, still doing a podcast, doing that, and having to, that's something I've been used to, especially to me. This is almost a little bit easier because, when I was doing a lot of writing and a lot of videos, it's almost the same amount of time in terms of editing, because you're transcribing your interviews or you're editing your audio that's going with your video. So this is being a lot just more straight audio and not having to deal with the other elements has kind of made it more streamlined for me.
Oh, is that what you did at school? Journalism, then?
Yes.
Yeah. How do you find that? You see, that obviously helped you to work with the workload now. How did you find doing journalism at school?
Man, it's a different program for sure. But I say it prepares you. Like, there's almost, I guess, no way for you to not be prepared for whatever it is that you're trying to do, because again, I'm doing a lot of podcasts and I'm talking a lot about music, but there's so much stuff I did in school towards sports that is so different. And school, again, they prepare you, and it's competitive. That's the thing I realize you know, it like I probably didn't even really realize that there was awards to be won until a couple years in. Just, you know, that's just how it goes. So yeah, it's really, really
Yeah, for
competitive.
sure. Like, would you ever do a sports podcast as well in the future, maybe?
Yeah, I would. I have another another podcast, Superstar Family podcast, that we talk about sports and other things. So I do talk about sports a bit on there, but you know, I definitely would. I definitely would. I've kind of had those elements in the cut. I know some of these guys are huge Raptors fans, huge sports fans. So sometimes we'll on a pod we'll talk 10, 15 minutes about ball. But for sure, that's something I would do.
Oh, brilliant, man. Is that your favorite sport at the moment? Basketball?
For sure. The Raptors winning last year was, you can imagine the madness that happened. Yeah. I have a friend, Saf. He was on exchange here. He lives in London, and he became a Raptors fan while he was here, and I was kind of following Liverpool when he was here, so I was like, we're going back to back here. Clearly we're good. Clearly we're good luck for each other. And yeah, it was super cool.
Yeah, you're a Liverpool fan. I don't want to talk to you no more. You ain't my man no more. Because obviously, as you know, like in football over here in the UK, like I'm a Man United supporter, so obviously United, Liverpool, like a massive rivalry. But I know that for someone like you, when the Raptors won last year, must have been absolutely crazy.
Mad.
Like, what was it kind of like? What were the celebrations like then? It must have been.
Okay, let me tell you. I knew it was gonna be crazy when the streets were filled after a loss. Oh, we lost. People were already filling the streets from the round before. So 2 weeks before we won the championship, people were already filling the streets after every win. There was a game where we lost, and I left the restaurant before the game because we were already losing, and the streets were already full that I couldn't walk. And I said, okay, so you guys are on this type of time. So it was like, and then we had this parade here, Caravana. That's like everyone takes over the city. So anytime anyone talks about the Raptors parade, they say it was bigger than Caravana.
Wow.
So that's like, yeah, it was like people were vomited onto the streets.
It must be crazy because I wish I did know more about basketball. I was a big Bulls fan years ago. But obviously I'm on to the football scene here for years. Obviously that's my main sport here. But in terms of sort of regular placings in the league, where are Raptors normally? Are they normally near the top or mid-table, like mid-table team? What? How
we're there's those couple of teams that you really think could win it every year.
Yeah.
You know that have the stars. I'll say it's kind of like how Barca always have the guys. It's like those teams. We were right outside of those teams.
Oh, really?
And then last year we made this huge trade to get Kawhi Leonard, who was like a top 5 player.
Yeah.
And then we won. Like no one was choosing us. That was kind of like unexpected. But we were always like right outside the top team. We didn't have the superstar. Those guys did, but we were really good, but just not the level of those guys.
Like, how do you find those drafts in basketball? Like, if I'm correct, like, is it the last who gets to pick first?
Yeah.
So, how did you feel when Raptors chose that player that you just picked? I'm not sure who he was, but how do you feel when they sort of pick a player that you think is going to be amazing for your team?
Nah, it's exciting because they had a long history of not doing that. Like, everyone used to kind of make fun of the Raptors because they would always choose the European player, and when the European player didn't work out, that American bias would kick in, and they would get so upset. But yeah, for the longest time, it was always the wrong guy. So when we get the right guy, we're just super hopeful, ready for anything to happen.
Yeah, I've got to mention Last Dance, though. You must have seen that, right?
For sure.
Man, how amazing was that, though?
That was crazy. And the best part was my mom was watching it, and
really,
she was enjoying it so much. And I was watching her enjoy it because she doesn't really remember that time the same way. Also, she remembers the Bulls being huge, but she didn't remember all the kind of turmoil and that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, it was amazing to watch.
Amazing, because I talked to one of my best friends, actually, Mehmet, who's also a big Bulls fan, massive basketball fan as well. And no, sorry, he's not a Bulls fan. LA Lakers? I can't remember, but he's also a massive basketball fan and one of my best friends, and he watched it as well, and we were both just saying how incredible the whole series was. From that first instant, to the next. I love how each episode kind of focused on a couple of different things. Obviously, Babs got your Pippen, to Rodman, to his Jordans as well. That's saying that he wanted Adidas originally, then he got Nike instead. And then, but that episode, I think it's like 5 or so, about halfway through the series, when he mentioned obviously his Jordans. He goes, I wanted Adidas, we got Nike instead. And then he mentioned like we kind of predicted there was still X amount of Jordans in the first week, and then it went like millions. Like, oh my god, really?
That was crazy. I remember that. Yeah, that was like stuck in my mind too. That stat, I couldn't believe it, and I always kind of wish I was like born in that time, that I could have got that first pair that was like $80 or whatever before this whole craze happened. But yeah, seeing those numbers, I was like, that is insane.
Insane. Because I remember that. Those Jordans that you bought, I had to buy them again now because I love my Jordans too much. And I bought those exact pair right now.
Oh, really?
But, I had to. But I remember he was saying that, as you know already, that he was playing in those sneakers to obviously boost sales.
Yeah.
They're not the best things to play in ever. They're like, my feet are like bleeding to death. I
can't
my
play.
God. But, those are still to my day like one of my favorites ever. That whole I watched that. I remember watching those balls when I was younger. I was I think it was between sort of 97 era, wasn't it? That's when they kind of get to the peak of their sort of wins. But I remember watching. In 97 I was 9 years old. So I was watching that kind of whole period of the Bulls. It was mental, and those trainers were the best though. Sneakers.
Now those are my favorite Jordan. Now the Jordan 1s are my favorite. Jordans now for sure. Like
same. So I think I've got to think of like 6 of them pairs now. I had to buy like loads of them.
I have to.
Yeah,
have to.
I remember I went to. I'm not sure they got one in Toronto, but in London, central London, they got a Nike Town. It's like a massive Nike store, and I walked in with a black, white, and gold pair of them on. Jeez. And it literally, I walk. I think the first time I bought them, actually, like I'm gonna wear it around the whole of London now to show off. And literally, I got so many stares from people, and oh my god, your trainers. And then I went to the Nike store in London. I go, those Jordans, I love them. Like,
oh my god, that's sick.
I love it, man. But to talk about the Jordans, obviously you must have seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
those Jordans. I badly wanted those ones, but everywhere sold out. And my favorite ones were the Jordan ones that he wears in documentary. Those ones, the red and white ones, the Chicago ones, which I love, the high tops. Or I tried getting the Spider-Man ones. So the other ones I wanted were the black toe, which is like the Chicago ones.
Now the black toe I love.
But sold out everywhere. And obviously, do you ever use StockX by chance?
Yeah. I just saw some kicks off StockX a little while ago.
Yeah, because I went to buy the black toes from there. I think they were going up to something like £1,000 or $1,000 up.
Yeah,
I think the cheapest one I found was something like $400 or £400. I'm thinking,
wow.
I'm like, man, I'm not going to spend. I love my trainers so much on my sneakers, but I'm not going to spend that much. For one pair.
You got to go for those deals, man. My brother actually did a Last Dance shoe, custom for someone. They had the black toes, I think, and he put Last Dance.
Really?
Back of them. Yeah, they look pretty cool. But for sure, I was want to ask you: is it like the same way there, where shoes are sold out everywhere you go? Like, and like on this, because like. Here, any Saturday that's like drop day, any Foot Locker, Adidas store, anything in Toronto, there's a line, and you can't get it if you go on the Sunday. Is it the same like that over there?
I think it's actually bigger in Toronto actually, because I'm not too sure. I've never seen any. I know of the drop-offs, but I've never been to any myself. And for someone like me who does love his trainers and sneakers, I've never been to any like all these big lines. They could happen. I think they are big here as well. I'm not too sure, but. I know that in places like Toronto or the US in general, they're going like mad sales, don't they? Like lines.
Crazy.
Yeah, and like the black toe ones I mentioned, like literally I couldn't get them anywhere. I went, do you sell them? No. Do you sell them? No. I checked online everywhere, nothing. And the only one that could find like StockX or
I can imagine.
Yeah, eBay. And I was tempted to buy secondhand ones. I never buy secondhand, but I was like, oh no! I got the Chicago's instead, man. But yeah, if I can get black toes for a good price, I'm still gonna get them
at some point, hopefully.
Yes, definitely. But you know what? Before we finish, actually, I'd love to kind of finish off with what are the sort of the best lessons you've learned since starting your
Mm,
podcast or your sort of company in the end. So, what have been some of the
mm,
best things you've learned since
mm.
starting your podcast?
I like the best thing I learned is kind of know what you want to do. I'll
Hmm.
say, for sure, in terms of like where you want your podcast to go, what you want to do with it, like
Hmm.
who you want to have on. Like I think that's what I've definitely learned the most, because in the things that I've done, me knowing I wanted to go in that direction
Hmm.
probably helped me the most. When I
Yeah.
think about like we've done a lot of live sessions where people come on and perform, and we had our first live show before the corona happened. So things like that is like, knowing that direction is super helpful.
Yeah, oh, brilliant. And how can people find you actually as well on the socials?
On Instagram, at the Cool Table Live. That's, if you want to see all the different shows going on,
Yeah.
at the Cool Table Live. And then all the episodes we do are at adrielsmiley.com. And then they have the podcast. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Just type in the cut. We'll be right there.
Amazing, man. Thank you. Well, honestly, thank you so much for an amazing episode today, man. Honestly, really appreciate it.
No worries, man. No worries.
That's the end of the episode. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.